old, 35 years old. And it came to a time when the family couldn't take care of him anymore. So they donated him to a state park, a different state park than here. And now he has come to live here in Askew State Park. And when you go to your next group, Mr. Roddy is going to be telling you more about diamondback terrapins. So let's see if we can have some of the answers that you can get him to ask you questions about the diamondback terrapin. First of all, the diamondback terrapin is a kind of a turtle. There's lots of different kinds of turtles. Some turtles are called sea turtles, and where do they live?
The water.
They live in the water. That's right.
Sea water.
Where do they live?
The ocean.
Right, out in the ocean. Did you see the ocean today?
Yeah.
You got your shells? Right? Yep, there's a sea turtle right there. So they live in the ocean, like the Atlantic Ocean, where you got your shells. And sea turtles live in salt water. Now there's other turtles that live on the land, and they like fresh water, like the water that's in your bathtub. But this turtle likes a combination, a mixture of salt water and fresh water. That's called brackish water. Excuse me. And that's why his name is Brack. So we've named him Brack after the kind of water that he lives in. So a diamondback terrapin has to have brackish water in order to be healthy and to not die. The diamondback terrapin eats different things that are in the bay water, like the water that you drove over the bridge in your school bus, and you saw the water under that bridge. So that's where Brack would live, is in that water. What do you think he could find to eat over there in the bay water? What?
Seaweed.
Seaweed, he might eat a little bit of seaweed. He's mainly a carnivore, so he's mainly going to be looking for some kinds of meat, like fish, right? So he's very good at catching fish. He's not good at catching fish. Other diamondback terrapins are good at catching fish. What else? Oysters. Well, oysters have a little bit of a hard shell. He does have a very strong beak that has some sharp parts to it. So he can break the shells of some animals. Probably not an oyster though, because that's a really hard shell. There's another animal that has a shell that he might break though. What? A clam. That's still another really, really hard shell. Really hard for him. How about, I'm sorry. How about a snail? He could break the shell of a snail. How about a crab? Oh, yeah. He might be able to eat a crab. What else? Octopus too? Yeah, good job.
Like a jellyfish, is that what you're thinking? Jellyfish? Oh, octopus, okay.
Yeah, right. So he also has these really sharp claws. See those sharp claws? That's so that he can dig in the muck. And when he digs in the muck, he can find something to eat. What do you know that lives in the mud around your plants?
Pig.
Or the muck on the sides of the bag? What? It's long and skinny, slimy. What? Oh, an electric eel is a very good guess. If it was a small one, he might eat that. What? Long and skinny and slimy. A worm, that's his favorite food. He likes worms. Now here at Assateague, he eats pieces of squid. So he'll eat pieces of squid, and then he also eats some krill and some of the food that comes from the pet store that has special vitamins and minerals in it that are healthy for him. It's very hard to keep a diamondback terrapin as a pet or out of the wild. Brack has had his share of problems because he's not out in the wild. So this is the shell of a diamondback terrapin from the wild. And you can see the difference in Brack's shell. So Brack, sometimes the vet will say he has to have medicine put on his shell so that he doesn't get any injuries or diseases on his shell. So he has a lot of special care to try to keep him as healthy as he would be in the wild. In the summer, he has times when he goes out and he's in the sunshine for a few hours of the day to make sure he gets natural sunlight instead of just the lights from his enclosure. And some of those things that help him so that he can live and be a teacher for you boys and girls. Now, when Brad came to us, he had eaten so much food that he couldn't move his arms and legs very much. He was all fat all around in here. So he's been on a special diet, and he only eats certain days of the week, and they have to write down what he eats and how much he eats to make sure that he stays healthy and can have a nice life in his enclosure where he can move around and do the things that give him good exercise. So I'm going to ask you to stand and walk very carefully around Brack's enclosure. You can line up around Brack's enclosure. You can come over here by me too, but don't touch the netting and don't touch the sides. Stand up straight.
I like how you're moving to,
Yeah,
so you can kind of see.
such good listeners.
Yeah, this is a
When
nice
everybody
class.
can see, I'm going to put Brack on the land here. We're going to put Brack up here in the sand, and put your thumb up if you think Brack's going to stay on the sand under his heat lamp. Brack is a kind of an animal called a reptile, right? Those are the animals that we call the hisses. The snake, the turtles, they're reptiles. He can't make his own heat. So if he goes into his enclosure, he will get the temperature that he needs to keep his blood warm, because he's cold-blooded, and that will warm up his blood. So we'll see if he wants to stay here under the heat lamp, or put your thumb down if you think he's not going to stay by the heat lamp, and maybe he's going to go for a swim. Okay, but keep your hands back. Keep your hands back. Just your eyes on Brack. Let's see what he does. First he's going to move around a little. Oh, he's coming over to see you.
Oh, no. I know. Yes.
Oh, sideways. And into the water.
I know because he said wasn't white.
Right, and his water is a special temperature. It's not cold like the water that's out in the wild. If he was in the wild and it was the cold water, he would go down and burrow down into the mud to stay warm. But here, because he can't burrow into the mud, we have to keep your hands out of the enclosure, sweetie. He can go down into the warm water, and then he feels more comfortable in there. Okay? You can go back over and sit on the carpet.
What a nice job you're doing, Daisy girl.
Well, the snake isn't coming out today. We are looking at two lizards, two reptiles.
That's another type of turtle.
So this is our other reptile that we have that we're going to look at today. And this is another kind of a turtle. This is a turtle that lives on the land. If you saw a big one in the desert, you would see a tortoise. And this is a type of tortoise. It's just smaller than those big tortoises that live in other places. How many of you have seen a turtle like this before?
Yeah.
Who knows what that kind of turtle is called? What's the name of that kind of turtle? Starts with B. That's right. What? A box turtle. He's a box turtle. So when something scares him, he can pull his head and his legs inside and close his shell up like a box. We call him chilly because, again, he's cold if he's not in the light and if he doesn't get the different things that keep him warm because he's cold-blooded. So he's called chilly because he's cold-blooded. He lives in the forest, and why do you think he's these colors? Why does he have those oranges and browns for his colors? To help him what? Help him hide from the other animals. He can blend in, and it's called camouflage. Camouflage, right, so he can camouflage himself in the bottom of the forest floor. So those are the colors that he has to camouflage himself. He eats different foods than Brack. Brack is mostly a carnivore. If he was an herbivore, they would just eat plants. But this turtle eats both plants and animals. So that's called when you're studying dinosaurs, that's called an omnivore that eats plants and animals. So Chili eats things like, he likes a little bit of strawberries, some carrots, some kale, different things that are vegetables and fruits. But then he needs his meat. And what do you think is his favorite meat to eat? Something we talked about for Brack. What?
Fish.
Not fish. Not squid. Starts with a W. Worms. He likes worms. That's his favorite food. So if we put a worm in his enclosure, he will slurp that whole worm down and eat it. So that's Chili. He does eat a little bit different. All the turtles do different things in different places. So, all right, so boys and girls, you're going to be going to Mr. Roddy's group next. We're going to line up at the door that you came in.
Team.
You're doing such a nice job, boys and
They
girls.
are.
It's okay.